I'm Danny Otto. Welcome into an all-new episode of That Recap Show. Now, before we get into the episode, just wanted to say, major spoiler alert, we are going to be going over everything from Season 2, Episode 4 of the Marvel What If series. So if you haven't watched that episode yet, you may want to pause this video, head over to Disney+, check out that episode, and then come back and enjoy the breakdown. Now, with that out of the way, let's start the show!
Poppin' Off presents That Recap Show.
All right, joining with me to break down everything from Season 2, Episode 4 of the What If series, it's Johnny Rico!
Hello.
I hate that I can see you during the intro music, because all you do is make me laugh.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Nobody knows what I'm talking about except for me. Anyway, Episode 4. Look. This might be my episode, my favorite episode so far. Like I know we got a lot more episodes to go. We haven't even hit the halfway mark on this season yet. But so far, this might be my favorite episode. It had a lot of characters that I enjoy, and it had a lot of characters that I enjoy interacting with each other. So, but what I have to do is go back to what I used to do all the time as a pop culture reference of the episode. And look, we got a lot of racing. We had a lot of fun stuff in this episode. And all I could think of was the phrase,
"Now this is pod racing."
or if you didn't like that one, how about the new Fortnite racing mode? Because we had drifting, and we even got a drift boost at one point.
Yeah.
So look, you take your pick, whichever one you want. You want the like little kid Anakin talking about pod racing, or we got the Fortnite racing mode. Either way, they both work. Anyway, like I said, this might be my favorite episode so far. There's a ton of stuff I want to talk about and takeaways and stuff like that. But it was just fun, and I kind of like almost every single character that popped up in this episode. So, I don't want to take away from my takeaways, no pun intended there. But Rico, what were some of your instant reactions for episode 4?
Yeah, this was Iron Man meets Mad Max, right? Like every episode I like to talk about like the events that kick off the like what happens in these episodes, and I really like how this one played off of how the end of Avengers 1 when he goes through the wormhole and that doesn't actually make it through. Like that's actually a really cool to think about, like what would have happened if he didn't even make it through that wormhole. And boy, this was quite the adventure that it sent him on. And I really liked like the beginning stuff in it when he's talking about how much time passed and he gets to see like when that they actually got to win the battle and the stuff that actually gets when they touch a lot more on the serious notes of the episode is really cool. And then the actual race stuff itself is pretty fun. Like I really like when he actually makes like the little iron car and like the way it revealed itself and then the ending shot when he kind of disassembles and then lands back in the Hulkbuster outfit, all super really cool stuff. So yeah, it's a fun adventure episode with Iron Man stuck in space.
I like it when he calls it NASCAR.
Yeah, intergalactic NASCAR, which it pretty much is. Yeah, it's like Marvel Mario Kart.
That's much. Exactly what I was gonna say. Yeah, it's Marvel Mario Kart.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good comparison.
Yeah, absolutely. But without further ado, you want to get to some big takeaways?
Yeah, let's do it.
Awesome. All right, why don't you kick off big takeaways?
So yeah, this wasn't my favorite episode of the season. There's a few things in this that I kind of learned as I was watching. I was like, I think I might be like just kind of over some of these certain things. I think one of them might be Korg. It's the second time we've got him this season too. Like he gets the part. He's just kind of like a big space character that everyone likes. Everyone likes Taika Waititi. But I just kind of felt like his place in this didn't really feel like it felt like it mattered. Like he was there to kind of banter off of Tony, and then that was it. But I really like to see more of like Valkyrie getting the spotlight there because I like seeing Tony being like the the odd one to straight laced people like Gamora and Valkyrie, just kind of seeing them react to someone like him is a lot more interesting to me humor wise. But yeah, I think that would have been a nice little like balance to the overall goofiness, because when you have Korg, Grandmaster, even Topaz to a level, because like her like straight laced goofy humor is really funny to me. But and then you have Tony as well. Like I think that you have like a lot of like combating goofiness there, and I just think you need a little bit more of like the like I say like the straight laced characters to kind of like help balance it out. So that's why I would like to see Valkyrie get a little bit more shine as far as like that little team up that they had there, right? The Revolution. But also the stuff with Tony and Gamora, I felt like was kind of throwing us as like kind of like an integral part of the episode, especially with the way the episode ended with them taking out Thanos. But I feel like the stuff on Sakaar with them didn't give us much between those two characters to kind of grow. We have the stuff with like her trying to attack them and going all that, and then eventually like they get the nice little pep talk on the car. But I would have liked to see a little bit more sprinkled in between there. So I feel like it was just juggling a lot, because there's a lot of great characters in this that you want to give them all a spotlight, but I think there's some stuff that gets sacrificed in the process. But overall, like again, it's a fun ride. Like there's not really too much to really get too upset over.
Right. Now look, on one half of this, I absolutely agree with you. I would have really liked to have seen more of, Tony and Gamora kind of forming that bond that they were able to trust each other with that end scene where they did, because obviously some time has had to have passed to where they can immediately pull that off, because that was smooth. They took out Thanos in like 30 seconds.
Yeah, you just put the melting steak on him. It was crazy.
Exactly. So that was really that was a really like good ending, because they teamed up. And what we know from season 1, and this was actually the episode that got cut from season 1, we know that there is a continuation with them post taking out Thanos, where the Watcher then takes this Gamora, because this is how this connects. So I'm 100% in agreement with you on that aspect, because that felt very rushed to go from Gamora trying to kill Tony to Gamora and Tony being one of the better team ups that we've ever seen as far as people in the MCU. So yeah, I would have definitely loved more of that. And just like you said, I think there was just so much to juggle in this episode that this might have been a good episode to have kind of a part 1 and a part 2. Like if it ended kind of, halfway through this episode before the big race with Grandmaster or something like that, and we had, maybe Tony and Valkyrie and Korg going off to kind of build stuff, and that was kind of how the episode ended, and then we got a part 2 the next episode type of thing. Maybe we would have been able to dedicate more time to that kind of turn in Gamora's character and stuff, and that talk would have made a little bit more of an impact, and then the end would have kind of felt more earned, I guess.
I want to see something that would have made sense. Like, why did Watcher choose Gamora from this universe? Like, because I didn't really get much with her in this episode to really see why she got chosen. So I was like, especially seeing that we saw, like, again, the after effect of all this, like, why did he choose her? And I thought we were going to get that in this episode, and I feel like I didn't really get that, other than like the fact that she took the melting stick on Thanos. Like,
the other thing I was going to say though is, I love me some Korg. Like, I thought it was great. And I've said this in some of the past recaps of this series. I enjoy seeing characters that we didn't get to see in the live action MCU interact. I really liked seeing Korg and Tony.
This guy here does not like to be touched.
Thanks for the tip, Mount Rushmore.
I thought he played off well from Tony, and Tony just kind of accepted it. It was like, this is a giant rock monster guy. I'm just gonna hang out with him now. Like, I just thought that was like, it worked. It worked for me.
Yeah.
I thought it was
on
funny.
the Hulk thing with him smashing people, and
exactly.
They played back on that rock paper scissors joke again too.
And where he became a paperweight, which he look, I love me some Korg. I thought that definitely worked, and in a very, very short amount of time, I still feel like we got, and just like you said, I would have loved more Valkyrie, because I love Valkyrie the character. I loved her in Thor Ragnarok. I love Valkyrie as a character. So I would have loved to see more like her in more of a focused role this episode. But at the same time, we still kind of got her a very condensed version, but the same thing that kind of played out in Thor Ragnarok.
Mhm.
We went from her like not really giving a shit about the character that crashed on the planet to completely agreeing to help the character and then going off and having like a hero turn type of thing. Not that she wasn't a hero to begin with, but you know what I mean? Like you had her kind of turn back into a hero by the end of it. And it was such a condensed version, but that's how it played out in Thor Ragnarok. She was like, she captured Thor and gave him to the Grandmaster and was like getting drunk all the time. And you know what I mean? Like, but it was able to play out a lot longer in a 2.5 hour, almost 3 hour movie versus a 20-something minute
Right.
episode. But yeah, I just thought it was creative that we still kind of got her same progression in such a short bit of time, like to where she is now leading Sakaar for like a better ruler basically. And that's the long run. The other thing is, I thought it was hilarious to have some more of the Grandmaster in this, and I liked seeing him, and I also like the end where he's not dead. Every single other person dies from the melting rod thing,
Yeah,
but he's just like a puddle. Like he's just like a puddle. He's like, someone get me a mop. I need to.
Oh, even like him just doing like his Jeff Goldblumisms as he's melting down. It's just like, oh, you could tell he was just having fun in the booth playing all these little lines and
yeah. So I was just like, the whole time I was just like laughing. Yeah. So I mean, I gotta like I was saying, this might be my favorite episode so far in this season because I got aspects of things that I wanted. Like I loved Korg. I loved seeing Grandmaster again, and I will always miss Iron Man, especially the era of Iron Man that was like during the first Avengers type of thing. Like that, he has finally made him like become the selfless hero, willing to sacrifice himself for everyone else type of thing. And so like that era of Iron Man is like a really like it's a cool era of Iron Man. And so like I missed that. I liked going back to that that Tony Stark and just like you said, the more serious note of how it began. I liked that part of the episode too, and how he was just like so happy immediately that like we did it, we won type of thing. Like that was like one of his instant thoughts. So, but Rico, do you want to get to some predictions?
Yeah, let's do it.
Awesome. All right. Well, I'm gonna give them predictions. I don't really have prediction. I will point out like what I did point out during takeaways is or both of us I guess kind of pointed out during takeaways where we finally now have a connection to the multiverse heroes that the Watcher was assembling in season 1. Yeah, we have Gamora.
All of them,
yeah. So we have the Gamora from that team, and like we said, be it that this was cut from the first season, I don't know how like this kind of fell into things or how this was going to be put into season 1 or anything like that. But
I just sort of debut the season with this one just because it was so closely tied to the first season.
Yeah. But anyway, so I'm happy that like we're starting to have like a at least connection to the through line. I enjoyed seeing that. But one thing I would say and we were talking about this in some of the other episodes where the best part about What If is it's kind of like testing stuff and throwing stuff out and seeing like what could they do kind of later to kind of build on other things. I would really like to see what happens to this version of Tony after the Watcher takes Gamora, because they weren't back on Earth or anything like that. They when the Watcher takes Gamora, they were
on Nidavellir.
Yeah, where the gauntlet gets made. Yeah. And Stormbreaker gets made.
That's what I thought we were gonna get to too. Like I was really hoping to see Atri again, the dwarf. So I was like, I was a little bummed that more of that wasn't fleshed out.
right. So I'm interested. I would be really interested to have another episode kind of which catches up to where that is, bridges the gap, but then also shows us what Tony did after that. Because, there's so many things that happened from this, like that made ripples from this. Thanos is gone, and this is the era of the first Avengers type of thing. And so like, it's very interesting. Like, I would be very interested to see what happens next. Because obviously someone else is going to fill the vacuum the big bad
Yeah.
in that universe. Now that Thanos is gone himself, type of thing. Will it be, because a lot of things that are a lot of people have said, you know, Thanos in Infinity War delayed the inevitable of the Eternals, where the Celestial was supposed to pop out of the planet, type of thing. So would that maybe happen, type of thing, because we didn't get the snap, because Thanos never rose completely to power and got the gauntlet and did all the stuff. Like it's just really cool to think about what one thing could mean and kind of just follow it, type of thing. So I'd like to see kind of a follow-up episode to this. And kind of move forward. But what were some of your, I guess, predictions moving forward, whether it be, you know, with this line of characters or whether it be kind of with the, you know, the series moving forward?
Yeah, this is one of the rare instances where we actually know what happens following this particular story. So it's like, hey, how we predict it when we already know what kind of happens with some of these characters. Yeah, like you said, like it would be kind of cool to see what happened to Tony, either from the time they defeat Thanos to when they get to Need of Lear. Like, why are they going to Need of Lear after they defeated Thanos, or was that for the same purpose? Who knows? Who knows when it comes to the Watcher and time and all that. But really, I was thinking this as I was watching the episode, like, this is the way I want to see Tony's stories from now on, like told in like this what if format where you can play around with these different multiversal versions of him. Yeah. It kind of helps fill the void of not having to see the main MCU Robert Downey Jr. version a little bit, because you're still getting that quirky character interacting with, again, like you said, characters you didn't expect him to interact with. Like, of course, you're seeing him here interact with Korg and Grandmaster. All that it's still fun at the end of the day, as much as it wasn't like it didn't tickle my fancy. It's still pretty fun to watch, like, admittedly. But yeah, I would like to see more like there. You know, there's a lot of cool storylines in the comics with Iron Man that you can do in what if storylines. Like, there's a great one where he's part of the Guardians of the Galaxy, and I would like to see something involved in that, or where he's just kind of hanging out with them. So yeah, I think, like, I just want more. There's got to be more Iron Man stories told somehow within the MCU, and I think this is a good way to do it.
Yeah, totally agree. That would be awesome. And I mean, that's kind of the beauty of What If. And I know, like, eventually, like I said, there's going to be like a through line that kind of connects everything and has an overall outcome of the season and stuff like that. But even having almost branches of What If, and it being like, What If Avengers, and it was literally just all stories about different aspects of Avengers and things that could have happened and been different in different multiverses and stuff like that. Or What If Guardians, because I know there's been a lot of different members on the Guardians team and stuff like that in the comics. And you could do that, or you can do like cosmic What If and Earth-based What If. Like, there's so many things that could have, like, we could have a side version of What If even, and we'd have this one What If which kind of encompasses everything, but then we can have side versions that kind of have full seasons of other things that are just one aspect of What If. It's just fun to think about. Like, this is like the best part of kind of going off on tangents and just talking with people who are fans of things and just like taking it to like crazier degrees type of thing. So that's always interesting to me. And that's what I'm going to say after every single one of these episodes, is because it's just interesting to kind of see things in different lights, or see things like just a little bit different, and connections of characters. Like I said, I've always enjoyed so far connections of characters that we didn't get to see in the IRL MCU type of thing so far. So
Absolutely.
yeah. But as we always say, that's what we think. Let us know in the comments below. What did you think of episode 4? And where would you like to see, Tony Stark, aka Iron Man, pop up next? And would you like to see a follow-up episode of this to kind of find out, where Tony and Gamora went after they defeated Thanos and before the Watcher took over? And, the sky's the limit. Would you like to get a What If series just about the Avengers, or just about like cosmic stuff? And as always, don't forget, like, subscribe, and turn on notifications to hear about all of our latest audio and video podcast releases. Bye, everybody!
Poppin' Off presents That Recap Show.